Object oriented programming proofs concepts. Object oriented programming concepts. What are object oriented programming concepts we'll have? That we will discuss now. So we are saying that Java is object oriented programming language. Java is object oriented programming language. So when a particular language is said to be object oriented programming language, if it is satisfying the characteristics of OOPS, then we are going to be say that particular language is object oriented programming language. So what are the characteristics of OOPS? Class, object, data abstraction, data encapsulation, inheritance, polymorphism. So mainly, at least these concepts, if any language is satisfying, then that language is called as object-oriented programming language. Then that language is called as object-oriented programming language. What is class? What is class? The class will be having, so simply we can say the class will be having the properties of similar things, properties and functions of similarities. See, if I am taking the vehicle as a class name, vehicle will comes with a car or it is a bus or it is a two-wheeler, anything that will be considered as a vehicle, where it is having the similar properties like moving, steering and all. Moving, steering and all. So, sorry, moving, steering or all will be considered as functions. Color, type of vehicle, these all will be considered as properties. Color, type, size, this and all will be represented as properties. This and all will be represented as properties. And moving, steering will be considered as functions. That is nothing but class. It will be having the properties and functions of similar one. Object. Object is an instance of a class. Object is an instance of a class. What is meant by instance of a class? The class will be having some properties and functions. Whenever we are creating object to that particular class, it is going to be instantiate the memory for the variables and functions what we have in a class. Like that, it is going to be use the object. So without creating an object to the class, we cannot able to access the variables and methods of a class. So action will be considered as function. Action will be considered as function. In the similar way, function will be called as method. In the similar way, function will be called as method. So first we will see how we can able to create the class. As we said in the beginning of the sessions, definitely we need to have a class. Definitely we need to have a class. Uh, each and every Java program should have at least one class that should be main class. Apart with that, it may have any number of classes. Any number of classes. In that one class should be main class. Without having class, we cannot able to write anything. So I'll be creating one package for this OOPS concepts examples. Sorry. It's a class I'm going to take, class demo 1. So I'm not taking public static void main. So without having main method, I have taken the class. See here, public is the access specifier as we discussed, class name. Now we are saying that class will be having some variables and methods. Class will be having some variables and methods. How the variables is going to be represented? Variables are nothing but that is going to be represent the properties. Int a comma b, int a comma b are the variables. And now here we are going to be write the method. The syntax for writing the method, the return type, method name, and braces we are going to be write if there is no arguments we want to pass. Suppose for this display method I don't have any arguments to be passed as an input to this particular function, so because or method, because of that only I left it as empty. Because of that I have left it as empty. Now just I'm going to be write this is display method implementation. And if I am initializing the values of these variables, I can able to display here. A value is 10, B value is 20. I would like to display. And even that values will display here in the function. So now we have created. So now I'm trying to execute this code where we will not get any output. So it is going to be execute the previous program. Enter row and column size of a matrix. Enter the row and column size of a matrix. It is not going to be displayed for the current one. So why? We don't have a main method over here. So for this particular class, we didn't created the object. Without creating object, we cannot able to call this particular method. Without calling this method, we cannot able to execute anything. Without calling a method, we cannot, I mean, the method cannot be executed. So for that, I'm going to take another class demo1 main. Here, I would like to take public static void main as well. For this class, I'll be creating the object. The syntax for creating object is class name, class name, object name. This is a object name, class name, object name, and new class name. So this is a syntax for creating the object. When we are creating an object, uh, then it is going to be instantiate the memory. Whatever may be the values we need, we can able to access. That is variables we want to access, we can able to access. The methods if we want to access also, we can able to access with the help of object by using the dot operator. How we will do that, we'll see. So after creating object, just we are taking the object by using dot operator. See, here if you observe in the intelligence, we are able to see that A, B. So which will be considered, we can able to access these variables. These two are the variables where we can able to access, and the display also we have here for access. Display also we have here for accessing. Other than that, equals, get, hash code, notify, all these are predefined methods. Only these three different symbols what we have, we can consider that is uh, user defined one where we can able to access that now. So now I'm accessing display method using object of class and dot operator. Now it is going to be get executed. It is going to get executed. So when we are giving the display method, even after creating the object, if we are not calling this display method, it is not going to be get executed. When we are uh, accessing the display method, then only it is going to be get executed. So otherwise it is not going to be called for execution.
Sir, one doubt, sir.
Yeah, tell me.
Sir, we have written display method in another program,
Huh.
right? We
Yeah.
have to in
No, no.
that
Don't consider
program
this is,
here.
yeah, yeah. Don't consider this is one program and this is another program. So this is one class,
Okay,
this is one class, and this is another class.
okay,
So for this particular class only, I have created an object.
okay,
So I have created the object where I have created the object in this particular class. With the help of that object only, I am calling this particular method.
okay. We can create another. I'm just telling like we can create class in another program and call that class in another program also using the object.
Huh? No, no, no. By using how we can able to create the object, we can able to call it.
Okay, okay, okay,
So
got it.
yeah, yeah.
Or else
Going
we
forward,
can inherit also, right, sir?
what you're telling, I'm not getting.
We can inherit that class also here and we can display.
That we will that we didn't discuss how we can able to inherit one class from the other class and all. So going forward, we'll
Okay, sure.
discuss on it.
Okay.
Yeah. Now the same thing I can able to write within one class as well. sorry, within I'll show you. So this concept. Now if you see here, this is a class where we'll be having some properties and methods here, and we can create the object of this in the other one, and we are accessing this. So instead of that, we'll take only one new class. I'll take class demo 2, and I am taking the public static void main. And I am taking the public static void main. So here first, what I'm going to do is, so here I'll be writing one method, void method one, and I'm writing one statement here, implementation of method. And for this particular class, I'm creating the object. For this particular class, I'm creating object. Any name I can able to create as an object. Now I can able to call this cd2 method one. We are going to be called here method one. So for this particular class demo 2, I've written the method over here. I've written the method over here. And after creating the object of this particular class, we are accessing this method with the help of the object of this particular class. Now if I'm executing this, implementation of method one, we are getting implementation of method one. Now we will discuss. See here in this particular example, for the integer variables, we have initialized some values, and we were accessing that variable values. If I'm not giving any value, or if I didn't initialize any value to a variable, so then I can able to access it or not. So we can able to access those variables as well. In that moment when we didn't initialize any values to the variables, depends on the data type what we have used for declaring that particular variable, will be getting the will be getting the default values. So the default value for integer is 0. The default value for a float or double will be 0, 0.0. For string it is going to be give as null, like that. So we'll see that example as well. int a, float b, double c, string s. String s. Now void displays a method. So I forgot to discuss one thing here. Void. So while discussing the data types of Java, we have discussed about void, and we said like we'll discuss this in the coming sessions. See, for what purpose we are going to use this void here is, it is not going to be written anything. It is not going to be written anything. In that particular case, we are going to use this void. See, when we are writing void statement, a void return type here, in the body of the function, we should not use the return statement. Otherwise, we have to use the return statement in the body of the function. So just here we are going to be display as default value of int. So that is a. We are displaying here default value of float, that is b. Default value of double, default value of string. Now for this particular class, I'll be creating the object. With the help of this, I'm going to be call the display method. With the help of this, I'm going to be call the display method. See, as we said, like for default value of int, it is going to be give 0. Default value of float, it is going to be give 0.0. Default value of double, it is going to be give 0.0. Default value of string is null. And we can also display here default value of char, default value of char. So just it is going to be displayed as empty. So just it is displaying as empty. It is going to be displayed as empty. So this is a way, even though if you didn't initialize any values to the variable, by default it is going to be display some values what we have as default related to that particular data type.